Rebellion, the development studio behind Atomfall, recently put out a developer update covering tons and tons of new stuff about their new game Atomfall, which releases on the 27th of March. It's coming out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. This game looks insane. Think of a sort of British Fallout with a detective twist to it. This looks brilliant. Now, the developer log was delivered to us by Ben Fisher, the head of design, and this came out 2 days ago on the 4th of March. There's tons of new details in here going over the gameplay, the setting of the game, how they come up with the ideas, and loads of other stuff. So, really cool stuff in there. A lot of stuff that we've seen before, but just going into the insights and how the team have come to those ideas. So if that sounds good, subscribe to the channel and stick around for much more Atomfall. We've got a lot of special stuff of Atomfall coming up over the next few weeks. So make sure you stick around for that. The game will come out on the 27th and we'll be covering it in full. Tips, tricks, guides, and all of that good stuff. Now, if you do want to see the full version of the video, I'll link it in the description down below. It's 15 minutes long. We are going to scale it down a little bit and go over just a quick run through of some of the points in the game. Now, if you don't know, it's set in Starfield, Cumbria, and it's actually based around a true nuclear disaster in England. It was the worst nuclear disaster that England has ever seen, and it occurred on the 10th of October 1957. The Windscale site contained 2 graphite-moderated reactors. At the time, they were referred to as piles, and a fire occurred in pile number 1, which burned for 3 days and released radioactive fallout across the UK and Europe. So, pretty interesting. There's a load of stuff about that. Just Google Windscale, and it'll be the first thing that comes up. I've done a detailed video on it already, and the truth behind the Windscale disaster, but pretty cool nonetheless. Now, the game focuses around that site. In Sellafield and Cumbria, the team have taken a lot of design and a lot of inspiration, visiting those real-world areas, getting to know the locations, and being able to incorporate that in the game. The game is very much backed by British values and how Britain was back in the 50s and 60s. So a lot of the characters you're going to meet are going to be of that era, just coming out of World War II. People are recovering, so they've been locked in this area for 5 years. They've come out of World War II, and one of the first things that has happened is they've then been locked in a quarantine zone around a nuclear power station's fire. A lot of the stuff and inspiration from the UK's folk horror of that era, as well as the Cold War, which a lot of this stuff will shine through in the game's design, how things look and feel as you're exploring the wilderness, which I really like. There's going to be Easter eggs as well that are based on a lot of those things. And then, of course, there's going to be the red phone boxes, the distinct red British boxes, which are a big part of the storyline. But another big element is going to be the freedom. Every single choice is going to be down to you, the player. Nothing in this game is going to be guided. There is a difficulty selection, so you can have a little bit of guidance if you'd like it. But if you want to play the game in just a normal standard mode, then you will have nothing. There's no sort of quest line to follow. There's no right or wrong way to go. However you decide to progress through the game, coming across these various characters is going to always formulate an end point and an end to the story. Your main story is to figure out what's going on there, why you're trapped, and how you can get out, which I think is really quite cool. It's going to be interesting how that sort of comes together. There's going to be no 2 endings of the game that are the same, no matter how many playthroughs that you have, which I do find quite interesting. One lead that you come across could completely counteract something else that you've got from somebody else. You don't know anything about your character. You wake up in the middle of a bunker and are greeted by a mystery man in a hazmat suit. You don't know who you are, you can't see yourself, and you never find out. So that is something that is going to be useful to you in the actual quarantine zone. People have been there for 5 years and you're a new face. Now, you will be able to use that to your advantage in some settings, but others it may cause a little bit of alarm and people may not like you or even trust you right away. So approaching various NPC encounters in completely different ways each time you do it, depending on who you're coming across, is really going to benefit you. You can even kill any character in the game that you want, and you will still have some form of ending. So that's quite interesting. If you want to go nuts and shoot the general, then you can. You're going to have a bloody hard time, but you can shoot the general if that's your choice. And the combat in the game so far looks really interesting, with a wide variety of weapons that you can use, such as small and heavy melees. You've also got bows, arrows, shotguns, rifles, which you'll be able to upgrade through that upgrade system by finding schematics and various items dotted across the open sandbox world. Now, it does look like there's going to be various sections of the game rather than one giant open world, but we'll have to wait and see how that progresses. It does look like some areas are very, very detailed and absolutely insanely packed with features, where others are just roaming through the beautiful countryside with odd little bits here and there. So how that's going to form into a wider map, I'm not too sure, whether that is going to be various dungeons or it's going to be separate areas that you go and visit. But Ben also said that even right from the beginning, if you want to visit the end game areas, you can do that. You can go anywhere you want right from the start of the game. There's nothing locking you, there's no quests that you have to complete to get to certain points, which is quite cool. Now, just like conversations with NPCs, you've got complete freedom in how you choose to take on enemy situations. You can hide them out, you can ambush them, you can even use a weapon to see if they'll back away from you, which I thought was actually quite cool. I didn't know that was in there. We've not really seen that in any of the trailers, but it seems like that's something you're going to be able to do. He has said that any situation you face with an enemy can be solved in a variety of ways. Be that literally lobbing a grenade in and going nuts, or sneaking past, or sneaking through and taking them out one by one. So Rebellion are the guys that made Sniper Elite, so the stealthy aspects that are in that game are really quite cool. I haven't played it for a couple of years, and I haven't played the latest one, but I did play them back in the day, and really, really enjoyed them. Especially being able to shoot someone right through the testicle in precision. I think that was a beautiful feature. I don't think we're going to be able to do that in Atomfall, but it would be nice to cricket back to the nuts and then seeing that little motion come in, and you know, why not? Now, as well as that, they also released this on their socials. Atomfall is coming March the 27th, 2025, Xbox Game Pass Day 1, Xbox Windows, Xbox Series XS, Windows, Steam, Epic, and PlayStation 4 and 5. They've also announced the first story expansion, known as the Wicked Isle. You'll be able to get the Quarantine Edition on the Rebellion store, but that is only for Steam. Now, the Quarantine Edition does come with some extra goodies, some physical items like a t-shirt and stuff. But if you pre-order it and get the deluxe edition, as you can see here, you will get a basic supply bundle, an enhanced supply bundle as well, which pretty cool. And then the Quarantine Edition is this one here, which gives you the digital base game, early access, the usual stuff, and then a t-shirt, digital novel, digital soundtrack, and digital poster and postcard. Now, the standard edition comes in at $44.99, deluxe at $64.99, and then the Quarantine Edition comes in at $79.99, which actually isn't that bad for, what's going to be a AAA game, which, yeah, normally, I think I paid £70 for Starfield on its own, and the last Far Cry I bought, Far Cry 5, I think it was, that was £70, I think. That was just for standard edition as well. So the prices I don't think is that bad, to be fair. I'm quite excited for it, but hopefully that doesn't mean there's going to be a really, really short game. They do say in the dev diary that they want it to be more like a digestible sort of mini-series type game, so you can play through little quest lines and do those little bits. So I don't know if it's going to be like a fully fledged sort of 20-30 hour story, but we'll have to wait and see. So that overall is a quick roundup of what went on through the developer update. There was a load of cool stuff in there. There's loads of little bits of gameplay as well as other little bits going into very much detail about how they got the real inspiration and everything like that. I've covered it in as a quick overview, but there's some really interesting details in there. So I'd highly recommend checking out the full video. It's 16 or 15 minutes long, I think it is, but it's really definitely a good one. If you're excited for the game, it's something you should check out. Now, we've got tons and tons of Atomfall stuff coming up over the next few weeks, so if you have enjoyed today's video, subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, helps us out in the algorithm, drop some comments down below on there too. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I've been Cowboy, you've been awesome, and we'll see you in the next one.